Yep, and we're live again. All right. Well, another Sunday, and I guess my wife said they're holding elections in Canada. She mentioned that to me before I was going to go online today. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. But yeah, another country, more, they're in the news all the time, and there's tensions between us and that country, along with many others, in a very, very unstable situation globally. Okay. Never a dull moment. I myself, looking at things, was trying to get some more content made. I may do some more members videos about reloading when I start reloading some calibers. I've kind of fallen behind. Basically, taking it easy, relaxing now that I'm retired, but have to look at it falling behind. Times are not good for anyone. I may have to circumvent this and start looking for a part time job. So I don't know. I'm going to see how things go over the next month or two, but there may come a point where I will stop doing the Sunday broadcasts. Uh, I mean, we've been on for a couple minutes and I have one viewer. So and it usually ends up I answer the questions for one person, which I don't mind. If somebody has a whole stream of questions about gunpowder or something, I don't mind doing it. But I may have to be putting my time in somewhere else. Not by my choice, but we'll see. And as far as the channel, I was going to kind of go through and highlight different guns that I have in my collection, just discuss them like I did with the French Moss, something along those lines, and go out and shoot them a little bit, you know. But things are slow. Uh, I believe everybody's pretty well short on expendable income, put it to you that way. So you see a slowdown in everything, but it's like somebody asked, gunpowder prices aren't coming down, you know. Now I went and looked up that accurate uh, 5744 or something. And I was right. It's sold out, but the last time they had an 8 pound jug of it, it was $600. Because that powder was always a bit more than, it was always a little bit more expensive. It's very, great application, but at an extra cost. So, that there kind of just puts a damper on things. So I don't know. Things, a lot of, let's just say you can't really figure out what's going to happen here. Yeah, and now we're down to one viewer. So great. So I'll sit here for a bit, see if some people show up. If they don't, um, then my one viewer here, I'll go on for a little bit and get going. But yeah, oh, now we got three. All right, that's a little bit more of a positive thing here. Maybe I shouldn't have put elections in Canada on the title. But I don't know. Usually the Canadian fellows, if they have time, will drop in. Uh, they always do. 314. I know the gun geek, he floats in and out. And Rod, depending on what's going on, but he does have a lot of things going on uh, to where sometimes he can't make it at this specific time. Um, but yeah, so like I said, I don't know. And I don't think anyone does. The instability that's been going on, promises made, and what's happening, and every day it's a new thing. And really, I have not seen I have not really seen improvements. Just the gun laws alone. Okay, if you watch Washington Gun Lawyer and there's several channels on there. There's the one with the guy and blonde-haired woman, and well, Liberty Doll, she made one talking about the ATF director being changed over, and she goes, who's in charge of the ATF, and why is that person holding two positions? Shouldn't they just have a manager or somebody running each department? They had, I guess, Kash Patel was running both of them, and now somebody that's in the Pentagon is running that, and I don't know, and you don't know. You have no idea if because there was another guy on there. There's several of these second 2A channels that cover stuff. Go Alberta, okay. And this one old fella's on there saying that they were down in Alabama or Louisiana, one of them states, that three of these fellows got burned for being dealers without a license. And what it is, the gun laws here are relaxed in the state that I live in. And you go to a flea market or something, or a gun show. Gun show allows you to sell your private firearms, okay, private collection. And you supposedly with a bill of sale, and I can't do it. Used to be they had to have a background check that the sheriff issued them or something, or if you have a concealed carry permit in my state, that is the same thing. A valid concealed carry is the same as an automatic background check. If you just jot that down or somebody shows that to you and you sell them a gun, and you're pretty good. But what I found out happens, and what people warn me, is that if the local law enforcement or if the ATF decides to set you up to make an example of you, and this has happened, they send someone who's a convicted felon, and this has happened. As one channel was showing me where two guys, and one fellow that he used to do the 2A thing, he's in prison, and then there was somebody on Gunbroker that was selling the old saw cut parts kits, which I guess are, I don't know, illegal or whatever. And he was selling 37 millimeter grenade launchers, but when they went and searched his home, they went into an outbuilding or something and found where he had actual 40 millimeter barrels that fit on these receivers or something. So this guy's royally screwed. Okay. And again, it's a sting operation, and they come in and clean you out. And this one guy was talking about these old timers, and like I see some old man sitting there, a whole bunch of shotguns, 22s and stuff. There's no military style weapons or large capacity weapons of any type. Just some old dude that buys all these old sporting guns, And so one of them gets hit, and these people are like 75. One was almost 80 years old. And they come in and they confiscate all these guns, and they had a whole listing. It's like 150 or 120 weapons, and I think there was some sort of AR type weapons, and they just listed unknown machine gun, unknown automatic weapon or something, and all these bolt action rifles, lever action rifles, Ruger handguns, 357 44 Magnum. There isn't really any of the things they want banned, mostly other than what was listed. He just had a whole bunch of old hunting and sporting firearms. And then the ammunition, he must have been selling ammo too, because it had some, like the 30-30, there's 120 rounds or something. They said thousands of rounds of ammo. I guess he had a couple cases of like 5.56 and 7.62 by 39 that, he had couple thousand rounds, but they make it dramatic. Like they swooped in, caught this guy, and stopped all these illegal guns and this whole load of ammo and all this other stuff. But now you got some guy 75 years old going to sit in prison the rest of his life over this nonsense. And of course, all the stuff he accumulated, that's all been confiscated and is taken away, because it's so dangerous. So yeah, that's the one thing you don't really know. I know bump stocks, you can buy them. So the bump stock thing, I believe, is done. I still have no idea about pistol braces. Everyone says yes, but then, and like I said, they keep changing the director, the ATF or the FBI or whatever. Everything seems to be in this influx. Nothing's finite. And I really don't see, executive order has been issued to stop these controversial things. But I think every single one of his executive orders is being met with some sort of a legal challenge or being halted by our wonderful justice system, which is so fair and honest. So I have no idea. So, yep. I don't know. Don't know where I stand. All I know is a lot of things as far as guns are concerned have slowed down. You still see they're having online PSA, Palmetto State Armory. If you go with, hell are they? I got them. I'll read them off to you. Grab a gun. Grab a gun is one. I get emails. Battlehawk Armory. Grab a gun. That's about it. They have sales. They even had a sale on that stock for that gun I was talking about, down to $151. Yeah, and there's Kentucky Gun Company or something. There's a bunch of them. Folks, intentionally set up for gun shows as sellers. Well, it depends where you are. What happened with where I live is they really didn't crack down on you at the gun shows. Okay, if I was selling my private collection, like I said, the laws are not that stringent here in this state. And for years I went there, and I really never had anyone screw with me. I know the ATF. For some reason, I guess they couldn't do that or something. I don't know, or they didn't do that because there were a lot of guys. I know a lot of fellas. They're doing the same thing. We're not FFL holders. Okay. Granted, I had antique stuff. I had just old used guns and that, and obeyed by the law. Did everything like I was supposed to. Filled out, checked to make sure they had a concealed carry, and no problem. Okay, I never had the ATF come down on me. Of course, I was not standing out front of the gun show waving a pistol around that was worth about $120 and trying to sell it to some fellas that obviously did not look like U.S. citizens and trying to tell them they can get this with no paperwork for $350. Now, you got people like that doing that are blatantly, okay, and he was outside the venue, blatantly doing it. Yeah, you're going to get your ass caught, okay? And another thing, that's where it used to be. We used to stand outside. You didn't even have to buy a ticket to get into the gun show. You just went in the parking lot and will wander around with a gun or a rifle or people. I remember during the ammunition crisis, they used to come with little luggage carriages with cases of ammo with a price tag on it and run around the show. I mean, it's crazy. But I never quite ran into that. There, and another thing I think is if you piss off somebody who has connections. The one guy got burnt here locally. What he was doing is he was cutting deals and doing stuff and hurting an actual gun shop. He set up somewhere at a flea market by an actual gun store. Okay. And he was hurting the guy's sales. Of course, brick and mortar store, they're going to charge a high price. And then people, why should I buy something from him? Why don't I go down the street and buy it from this guy used? Okay. And what happened is supposedly the gun store owner contacted the ATF and they set him up with a sting and they burned him. They took everything. They come to this house, cleaned out, even muzzle loading black powder stuff, all gone. Poof. So yeah, it depends. If you advertise, go out and push your luck. You might get screwed. How's it going there, Shady Grady? I'm glad you can join us. Oregon, oh, that's another state. Okay, like New York. My nephew told me somebody was selling an old 22 rifle at a garage sale. And somebody called the authorities and said there were people selling firearms without doing background checks to anybody. An old 22. And the police actually went looking for these people to see if they were doing that. It was kind of crazy. Yeah, well, see, that's why I never got a carry-on relic license. I mean, yeah, they're convenient. You can buy, stuff, have them shipped to you. It saves you that $20, $25 fee. But then you get into the nitty gritty of when you go to sell. That's why these people like to trade. There's no money. You can get burned. Okay. And one guy wanted to sell a whole collection of mill surplus guns. Okay. There was like 5 of them or something, 5 or 6 of them, some real nice stuff. So out in Virginia, I said, okay, look, I'll float alone. I said, I'll come with cash. I'll drive up there to 2-3 hours. See, I'll pick them all up and we'll do this. I said, I got a concealed carry. He said, I'm not selling to anybody unless they have an FFL. You either have to have a carry-on relic license or be a dealer. And I said, no, ain't going to do it. Because he says he has to liquidate his carry-on relic license. And he just wants it done, which, for him is simple. But I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, well, they had a thing here. Okay, you're not supposed to sell a handgun without having somebody either, fill out a bill of sale or you record their state issued friggin' concealed carry permit, or they actually give you, I got one in my desk drawer here somewhere, a background. We used to have to go to the sheriff and get a certificate, which is a background check to buy a handgun, pistol purchasing permit, some bullshit. But had that. And if you just laid it out there and somebody walked up and they did, the ATF and the sheriff come around and you got a handgun laying there and go, yeah, give me this, I'll sell it to you. Really? Yeah. He hands you the money, you just take it, hand him the gun. They did arrest them and take them out. So they do enforce the law. They did enforce the law. Okay. But like I said, you have to be standing there waving to these people. Come and look, I'm breaking the law. And that's basically greed, and people, that's what they do. Okay, when I moved here, it wasn't even required to get a transfer for private sales. And they got these new things that have gone. Yeah, see, like New York State. Okay, I moved away before they started getting really insane up there. I guess they had this, you had to register any AR-15 style rifle with the state, register it with the state. They didn't destroy it, and I don't know what the rules are. I tried looking the law up. It's not like New Jersey where you register it and when you die, it must be taken and destroyed or something like this or something. And then if you didn't come in a year and a half and register it, then it's illegal weapon. And also, I don't know. But yeah, it's the engaged in business is not in effect. Texas, all of you really need to do is verify the person you're selling to is a Texas resident, and that's it. Yeah, all right. Ordinance comp. That could be done. Yes, that's another thing. I don't like the fact that if you do that or you get any, what is it, class 3 silencer automatic weapon, they can request to come once a year. Now, some people argued this point, they just can't do it at any time, but they can request uh, to check the weapon in storage, my friend. Yeah, I know that, Grady. I mean, my driver's license and all that other stuff, put it in his book and could do it, but he didn't want to do it. Okay, so I passed on the sale, you know. And if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. Yeah, if you sell a handgun, it used to be on the logbook. Now they eliminated all this. But in North Carolina, if I sold a handgun to somebody in private sale, I had to have a bill of sale. This is what the law did state. And if he didn't have a concealed carry permit, I would have to have the purchasing permit, fill out a bill of sale with addresses, driver's license, some form of ID, and I would have to keep that document for the rest of my life. Okay, which is insane. It's unenforceable. People lose the titles to their cars. People lose their credit cards. People lose their damn driver's license. Okay, and have to get another one. So for me to hang on to a piece of paper from a sale that was made 15 years ago, I think the thing is there somewhere. It might take me 2 days to find it, but it's an unenforceable law, is what it is. Well, New York, it's a holding area for these people. New York State has a lot of issues because of New York City, which uh, like 85% of the population of the state lives within a 100-mile radius of the center of downtown Manhattan. So it's a very unusual place to live. Okay, you asked me that about a month ago. That's what that box is what my CA3 rifle come in. That's what that is. We already did that, and they've closed my range. I haven't been able to go out and test that new chronograph that uses radar. I haven't been able to go out and test my reloads, is why I had to buy the chronograph. And some of them are for that rifle, and I'd like to go out and shoot that and the Set Me See gun again, but my range has been closed for almost 2 months now, and I was hoping that maybe this week they'd open it. I don't know, but no. Matter of fact, I'll move the box so that way it doesn't get everybody confused. All right, yeah. I mean, it all depends. Generally, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna get in any type of a problem because, like everyone knows, unless this person uses the gun to commit a crime or murder or something, nobody's gonna look at it. Okay, and if you are selling it to somebody that shouldn't have it, it's kind of difficult to friggin' tell that. All right, and that's where when they set you up, when they're looking to get you, they will send somebody. It's a sting operation, and law enforcement will set it up. And generally, that happens when somebody complains about the fact. Okay, like somebody comes up to me, there's nothing I've been doing or have been to or anywhere where I'm selling a firearm. Okay, there's nothing. Okay, if you're and they don't like people used to do during shortages. I knew guys they just go buy up guns and then go resell them. Okay, and they didn't like that. Really, nothing against the law about it. Okay, um, it's just they didn't like the fact that guns can change hands so easily. All right, but then again, you have to very drastically change the damn laws and everything. And the way things are now, there is no national gun registration. Nobody knows a handgun I purchased 15, 20 years ago from the store, whether I had it, whether I sold it. There's no way for them, to figure out where the hell it is. So it's all a bunch of BS. But if they want to set you up, you can get set up. Okay. And like I said, a lot of it is you have to be noticed doing this. All right. Is the thing I'm saying. Don't really know what you mean by that. I still have some of it. One pistol, it's been listed. One of them's gone, but I still have several of them. Email me and I'll tell you what's going on. Because fortunately, I'm getting ready to wind down and sell some projectiles and then get done with my buddy there and just move on. Like I said, I may have to go like earlier. I may have to go find a part-time job. Okay, that's fine. It's just I cannot go out and publicly say that I do not care about the regulations in that of the state because that was a law in the books and you had to keep that paper. Okay. Uh, you know, this is self regulation. Yes, but to go about, see, I got burned. Okay, first thing is I set up my channel and they ask you in your thing on the channel, the main settings, are any of these videos made for kids? Because I guess people do exploit children and have these videos for children and shit. No. Okay, so in my main settings, there's a box, age restriction. and I click on it, and supposedly that blankets everything. In other words, once I answer it once in the main settings, all of my videos should be checked off already, as people must be age restricted, 18 or older, to view my videos. Okay. I get a message last week. One of your videos, we've found one of your videos doesn't have age restriction on it, and we think it's inappropriate for children under the age of 18 to watch it. And I think it was a video of me firing a Japanese Nambu pistol at Type 14. I was just out shooting it. That was it. I made that video well over a year or so ago, almost 2 years. So I think their computer, it takes them that long, 2 years to find it, because that's what I was complaining. They were telling me something violates policy. All the thousands of videos I made, it went back 2 years. And I don't remember what the hell I made 2 years. And back then, it wasn't a violation of their friggin' policy. So, you want me to keep creating stuff and adding more videos, but I have to police this back with, so it's screwed up, and you have to watch what you say here. There were several people complaining to me that then when they put certain comments in, they're blocked. Okay, I'm not blocking them. And I asked the guy, are you talking about current prices of something? You're putting a dollar figure in there. And he goes, yes, that's what I'm saying. He was going to tell me where you can buy this, 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 and this. They blocked that. So you never know. That's why you got to watch what you say. And I can't agree or disagree with you for that matter. I'm not going to agree with this last statement, because somebody could be watching and saying that I'm telling people to disregard firearms laws. Yeah, and a lot of it too is local. Okay. 50 years ago, nobody anywhere really gave a damn, unless you were in like New York, always had handguns are registered, period. That was from the Sullivan Act, 1935. Okay, that's how long it's been there. And handguns that go into New York, because I worked in a dealer's office, and the paperwork, I did that when I was like working in a shop part-time. When a handgun comes in, you get it sent to the legitimate dealer. The legitimate dealer must place the handgun on his books, just like any other dealer anywhere in the country. Plus, there's the added paperwork that you must send to the state capitol, to an office, that this handgun is inside the boundaries of New York State and is registered. Boom. To you. Then whoever gets permit gets it. I've sold handguns through a dealer in an auction. And then the paperwork, if he's mailing this to Texas or Oregon, wherever one of you guys live, bought this gun legitimately, sending it to an FFL, then also, once the gun is leaving New York State, you must send paperwork saying that such and such handgun, serial number, and that has been shipped out of the state. Okay, and that means that it should be removed, which it was removed from my permit. Okay, that's how it works. Yeah, I mean, it's just a backdoor way. Okay, it's well, if you ever dealt with the military, government, or anything, they can't change the law legitimately, and they're not going to. Okay, this is the problem. But people wish to complicate buying and selling guns and arresting people, and all it is fear. Because all I got to do, even if it's bullshit charges, arrest one guy and word gets around and everyone panics and freaks out. And then, like when North Carolina got rid of the permit thing, okay, now you don't have to have a permit. So this law where I have to keep this document and this thing no longer exists. So it leaves this vacuum in a gray area. And that's all the state said. We no longer issue permits for background checks. The dealer must do a background check. Well, I'm not a dealer. I can't run background checks. Okay. I'm not filling the forms out. So what they did is created a thing, and you see on the new forms, like I made the thing where it says private sale. So now, supposedly, if I wish to sell any type of a firearm that is covered, where it has to be, post 1898, okay, I would have to take that gun to a dealer with the buyer, then submit the gun or however the hell they do it, and then he does a background check. The background check comes back for the buyer, and then he fills out a form. Okay, and there's a bunch of dealers that have set up on their websites to where, hey, don't take the risk of being in violation of the law, which nobody knows what it is specifically. Come and do this, be safe. Bring your guns to us either for us to sell them for you, or if you have arranged a private sale, come to us and we'll do the background check and the paperwork. So that's how they do that. Yeah, I know that. But see, here's the thing. I've been doing this for, I think, how was it, 15 years or something? Okay, there's a lot of work I did here. Okay, a lot of reference, a lot of things I won't be able to make some of these videos. I don't have the things I made them. I don't need to lose it all. Okay, have it all erased. All right, so you're stuck. You have the vehicle to get the point across, to get the views, as compared to Rumble and everybody, oh, go to Rumble, go here. It ain't the sense and the fact that nobody has the scope that YouTube does. I can make all kinds of videos and I never get the same amount of views. And any YouTube creator will tell you the same thing. You put your time into making a video and no one looks at it, what's the point? And a lot of people complained to me when I was going to shift from YouTube to these other things. They said, we're just not going to watch anything you do anymore because I can't get it on my TV on this, or I can't do this. Or several people say, you don't make a video last more than 5 minutes because I watch it on my phone. Okay, I'm not, a lot of the things and the topics I discuss can't be done in 15 or 60 seconds. Okay, so it's kind of tough. But yeah, you're just worried about having all your work erased. Okay, that's the fear. It's not, the gun laws. It's just the way the mindset of the people that control this platform are. Yeah. And what was your point? I'm not really quite sure you're understanding me. I cannot go out and agree with a viewpoint publicly like this with AI watching that tells people not to obey laws. Okay, it's not a personal thing. I just cannot do that or risk doing that using this platform. If we were on another platform that we weren't watched so closely, I could probably tell you my true feelings. Okay. Well, yeah, I told you they gigged me for underage thing, and I already thought I set my age thing over all my videos. And they told me this is not a strike. We just changed it to this isn't, age restricted. That's all they did. So you have no idea if a bot or a program's running, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting here one day without saying or doing anything, and my channel's just gone. That happened well, it happened to, what the hell is his name there? Hickok 45. He was in negotiations or litigation with him or something. And what it is his sponsors and the ads he puts up is on something banned. It's nothing that he made into video content that is banned or a violation of the policy. His sponsors sell things that are verboten, and they shut his whole channel down. He was big. He made a lot of money in that. They make it personal. Okay, but see, that's true. If you have your own personal logbook, the one thing when they pass that law is if they find that you were in violation of the law, you were fined, and that whole thing about being a dealer, if you kept the logbook, okay, then you were a dealer without a license. Okay, so this law that they made was pretty, because people do keep track of what they own and when they sell it. Okay. So this is what I'm saying. I mean, what you're saying is not ridiculous, or and like someone said 50 years ago, if you did that, no big deal. You do that now, you're going to federal prison. Or underneath that last thing, if you read the pages and pages of that crap, Lithuania. Yeah, I know that, and here, let's. You know what? I'm gonna go and see if I can find that in my analytics. Oh, revenue and videos. I'm trying to figure out. Skippable videos. They did. Okay. I mean, they copied that. They did that. But truthfully, with the ads on there or how the exposure was, they got tons of views, and I did get something for that. So I didn't really care. Okay. And they never did pull them, even though now you can't even find them things anywhere anymore. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. That's the point I'm trying to say. I can't speak my mind when I'm live like this because this is monitored to where when people put comments in there, they're blocked. All right. See, now again, never a problem until there's some reason this gun ended up with the police for whatever reason. It's not your fault. Okay, not worth the time and trouble. All right. Yeah, casting video. I got burned for one of them. Okay. I told you about it. And that's I think that's when you started looking at it. Yeah, and I don't really know because I don't go through all of them. If they just delete them without even notifying you. Never mind. Maybe I'll look up solvent traps. Let me see. Let me see if they're still even listed. Get them here. See if I can get views on these. Okay, solvent traps, 80% receive. Okay, the big 10-inch monocore. I published that 5 years ago and 60,000 views, just about. I got 1,000. Oh, here's one here. Solvent traps, the collection, and are they legal? It's 69,285 views. Okay. Oof, this one here, and they limited it on me. It still adds suitability. Monocore solvent traps, very impressive. 231,178 views. Okay. These things are setting a record. There's nothing. And then one of the first ones I did, solvent traps. Okay. I got 108,000, 3,500 views. So yes, those videos, and they are monetized still. Okay. And I could care one way or the other. I don't tell anyone to do them, but it's just something people are interested in. And generally, they make it illegal. Okay. It's like 80% receivers. Them things, I got a ton of views on. Okay. Fast. And they just threatened to shut me down unless I deleted all of them. Yeah, personal firearms book. Yeah, that's what I mean. This platform outdoes all of them. This is the platform if you want to be heard no matter what, whether they like it or not. This is the platform to use. You use any other type of platform, you're not going to get that. Like I showed you, he mentioned them solvent trap videos I did. Ton of views. Okay. But that's why they banned them, because everyone was interested in them. See, I'm not showing, I just show you the thing and that's it. I don't talk about doing anything or modifying it. I do tell you if you modify this any way, shape, or form, you're breaking the law. Yeah, but see, now that's where I think they got the new ruling. Any type of modification to a firearm will get your channel shut down. Now, and I don't even think with some of them, like with Hickok 45, uh, it wasn't strikes. It was just his whole thing. The sponsors, all of his videos, he had to take all of them down. Okay, the whole channel. All right, so that's what and I don't know. I just make, like I said, I'm going to probably make some videos about uh, some of the rifles I have, the bolt action guns or some old guns. Take them out, review them, shoot them. You know, it's fairly safe as long as I ain't modifying them or anything. And that's another thing I've been looking into what to do with that stupid little Mosin carbine. I got all kinds of suggestions. And I think the one that somebody kept saying over and over again is to get the British Mark V or number 5 rifle assembly. It's only like $60 instead of me getting a mount and a scope, which would be 180. And even if I have to machine the end of it and try to attach it, uh, that might be the way to go. I'm gonna look into that, but I have some other things going on. Uh, I'm monetized for Google Plus. Yeah, Google Plus. I forget what they. I remember when that happened. They just changed that. Half my subscribers. I supposedly have 24,000 subscribers, but from what I see, that ain't true. On average, if I post something like, let's look at that thing about the musket. That was interesting. Okay, and here, boom. Yep, 24,345 subscribers. Okay, we got nothing on live. Let's refresh this. Close that. And we go back. Okay, old muzzleloading shotgun and a scout rifle with viewer feedback. And again, these numbers all look the same. These things were posted for a few days, a couple days, 48 hours. 379 on the Mosin and 357 on the old muzzleloading shotgun. And they'll stay that way, maybe go to 400. And over time, maybe more. But just initially, it's like I get a sub 400 views on something of an interesting, and it kind of, that's a matter of 48 hours. Boom. And it kind of hovers. And then over time, yeah, it might add up to more, but that's my thing. I don't have one of these things where I've seen people get over 1,000 views or like 5,000 views in 48 hours of publishing it. I mean, those are the kind of videos that you need. That's where you'd be going. Let's see, my buddy here had a video about Dollarama corn. Yeah, that's what I mean. Dollarama corn on the cob, and you got 22,000 views in a day. And you were the one who told me to make the sardine videos or suggested that, and I did them things, and people still send me comments about that can of sardines I ate or something. They got a lot of views. I mean, that was cool. Let's try that. Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. If I made a video, say I took that Mosin and I wanted to put the scope mount on there, pull that rear sight off, and will that be a modification or manufacturing or changing the gun from? Because if you look at the wording, I am changing the gun from its original configuration. I'm modifying it. Doing something like that, you can get burned. But half the idea is if I do buy that sight or mount that bolts in there, is to show it to people, show how difficult it is or how it works and why it's different than the other ones. And then, but kind of making videos like that are kind of, on the edge. All right, maybe I'll order one. I have to see. That would, because if worse comes to worse, I can turn it. And they have one with a muzzle brake in it, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, see, I worked in a factory all my life. And like I told you, I could care less if people know who I am or what I do. Everyone kind of knows this is what my hobby is. Anyone who knows me personally outside of YouTube or the internet, knows this is my hobby and what I do. Um, again, I ain't got nothing to hide. You know, it's just I got to watch what the hell I say because it could be misconstrued. The way the wording of their things are, you just don't want to talk about certain things in any way, shape, or form, or have an opinion of them. Unfortunately, it's still to that point. Google Plus. See, I don't even remember the changes. The thing I hate is I get used to the system and I do all this stuff. They even had the Google Plus anymore. I remember they had something we could tie our videos in. I'd ask you for permission and then you would be able. I remember us doing that. It was like doing a little target contest uh, with the Mosins. Like you would make a video, then I can attach it to where they play them. I mean, things like that. That's when doing this was fun. And I think it was before it was even monetized. We just did it past time. You got Teleosaurus involved and everything, and I forget. Even Log Cabin Loon gave us all a mention when he was out there gunning down them vile little beavers that were flooding his property out, building a dam or something. I forget what it was. Yeah, I guess you really can't make videos like that anymore. Video response. Okay, yeah. That's what it was. Something like that. I can make a video response to it. Yeah, people like it. Let's get rid of it. Can't have that. There's too many happy people out there. The military was said that. They'd always change the rules. Something was working, everybody was calm and going about their business. And then all of a sudden, somebody'd step in and say, well, we have to do this, and this all has to change to be different. And we come up with the theory. We said, well, on our ship, they have a morale suppression team. The captain will go, well, how's the crew doing? He goes, well, everybody's happy and, calm and getting along and everything's running smooth. Well, let's change things just to annoy the hell out of them. And like they went through the thing for 1,000 years, it was called the mess decks. Okay. And 3 years into a 4-year term, I'm not, my brain ain't going to change. The enlisted dining facility. And I mean, I used to sit there and go, where's so and so? I said, I think he's eating down on the mess decks. It's not the mess decks. Did you not read the official statement? From now on in the Navy, it is called the enlisted dining facility. This son of a bitch stood there and yelled at me for 5 minutes over this shit. Okay. So you can tell my military career was short-lived. But yeah, this is kind of like being in the military again. Everything's working great. People like it. Okay, well, let's get rid of it. Night for fun. Oh, Phoenix, that's a major city. If it's a good one, you never know. You might find something that you can't Can't live without. Scheiße. It's fun shit. Looking, yes. Anson. Yeah. And Anson. I think it was a damn Lieutenant JG or Lieutenant. Yeah, he was high ranking. Anson's and that they had other. They didn't like talking to me. But yeah. Good idea, Fairy. You never know. You know. Yeah. So like I said, who knows? There were a lot of good things, and we had a lot of fun back in the days for everything got into Google Plus or whatever back when we used to do this crap for fun, other than for profit. But I guess I talked to somebody and they told me that the amount of data that Google processes when we upload the videos and that is some ungodly amount that no one else can do. That's why this platform is number one. You'll get the most views on it and everything else. But I don't know. Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, he didn't shoot him. He said he shot one off camera. He was going out on that damn tangled mess of stuff with a Mosin to go and get the other one. He got one, but it wasn't on camera, and he brought the camera to get the other one. And then the traps got him, but he showed him in a trap. I'm surprised Megabait ain't here. He said he ran a channel about deep sea fishing or ocean fishing with his business is what the hell he did. He chartered people out on little fishing trips, and he did one video of cleaning a fish, and actually protesters came and damaged his boat at the marina over this, and he had to get rid of this whole channel about all this stuff, which I don't know. That's pretty bizarre. I mean, so he cleaned the fish like he did. I've done that, myself. So never made a video about it, but I have no idea. So he said, that's what happened to him. Yeah, but I remember that. That was fun. Me and my wife watched that several times back when he had the beaver problem. Well, like I said, it takes about 2 years for him, and those were done 10 years ago. So give it another year or two for they shut his channel down over it. Normalizing violence now for protesters. Really not sure. I guess that's what it's called. Normalizing violence. Yeah, I mean that's what he told me because he's always been in kind of contact with me. He lives, I know where he lives. He lives a few hours away from me uh, in Hickory. I never met him in person. Who knows? I probably ran into him in a gun show because just recently he's showing himself in the video what he looks like. I did. People I ran across is that guy Misha that does all that with all the military guns and everything, and all those roller locks and all that real exotic shit. He came up to me and stood by my table, and he didn't say nothing. I recognized it was him. He just smiled at me and just didn't say nothing. Looked at some of the stuff I had and left. You know, but who knows? And then the other guy, the battlefield curator, he came to the house. He's Georgia. He drove a bit of a distance, come up and see me and do that interview. But yeah, really don't. And now that we don't have the video ad buttons or whatever that was, all my long distance friends, we can't collaborate on things anymore. Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, like you're stating here, out protesting. Yeah, I have to work. I have to pay my bills. Even though I don't like something or there's something going on that I would like to say, hey, I don't like this, I have to work for a living. Okay, and that's who has the time to be there in pro solo. Like when Michael Jackson was going on trial, they flew from all parts of the country to stand out in front of the courthouse. Fortunately, it was only about 10 people, but and they interviewed them. They're a tad bit on the unusual side, put it to you that way. Yeah, that's true, because if you look at the local Craigslist, and if you look under jobs, there's been a listing there, and it's of course Chapel Hill, UNC University, very liberal school. There's someone in that area that will pay you $24 an hour. I forget how they describe it. Some kind of social active work or something, some weird term. I haven't, but I think that's where you go there and they pay you money to show up and hold a sign. Okay, that's right. And there is an ad there. They pay you $24 an hour to do that. Oh, I'd go do it. I don't care. If I didn't have to drive all the way to Albany, it's 2 hours, or not Albany, Raleigh, it's 2 hours away. Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, I don't care. I mean, what the hell? I lost my regular job, you know, when it comes down to it. Why not? Well, all right. Getting a little tired. I got to go out and do some work out on the yard again. I've been doing that recently, past few weeks, because it's the right time, the right weather. Things aren't overgrown. I'm fighting back where I let things get out of control on the back end of the property and get it done. And hopefully, I just got to get my head straight and get back into my reloading projects that I've been running. Protest don't think they have jobs. Others, I think, are employees scared of chickens to butcher. Yep. Thank you. All right, then, guys. I'll see you next week. And thanks for showing up and coming. All right. Take it easy now.